The most recent transaction to be challenged by the government, which was announced earlier this year, is the United Sierra transaction, which you've probably all read about. But that's actually the third in a line of recent healthcare payer mergers that have been challenged, starting with the Aetna-Pru case in 1999. And I think these cases really raise a perfect storm of regulatory intervention that not everyone who is following this industry is always aware of. And that perfect storm consists of review not only by the Department of Justice in Washington, but also by the state attorneys general and insurance commissioners in the relevant states where the companies are doing business. So in any one transaction, you can find yourself needing approval not only from the feds, but also from any state AG, potentially, who has an interest in reviewing this transaction in the areas where you do business, as well as the state insurance departments, which in some cases, like California, aren't content with having one approval process, they actually have two. If you add to that mix that this is a highly charged political arena, I think healthcare in general and specifically the interaction between HMOs and other healthcare payers on the one hand and the medical industry on the other brings up very overt political and commercial issues that tend to get entangled in the review of these transactions. It's no secret that bodies like the AMA and their constituent state and local groups around the country are highly organized on commenting and opposing healthcare payer transactions, and they bring all the force of their organizations to bear in hiring economists and other groups to oppose the transaction in all the fora that exist, that perfect storm that I outlined up front. So just to give you some more flavor of these reviews and the types of challenges that the merging parties have faced in them, in United Sierra, admittedly a transaction that involved an overlap in one particular line of business, Medicare Advantage, where the combined share would have been in excess of 90%. So admittedly, by any standard, a challenging transaction from an antitrust perspective. The Department of Justice there required divestiture, essentially, of, as I understand it, United's line of business and Medicare Advantage in the two relevant counties in Nevada, which broadly covered the Las Vegas area. Prior to that, in the United Pacificare deal, the Department of Justice had challenged that transaction, not on the basis of overlaps in lines of insurance, the downstream market, as we call it in the jargon, but actually focused more on the ability of the merging parties to reduce reimbursement rates to medical providers, so-called monopsony power concerns. So United Sierra involves concerns in the downstream healthcare coverage market. United Pacificare and its predecessor, Aetna-Pru, concerns in the upstream market for provision of services by doctors to companies such as United and Pacificare. And again, divestitures were required there in two areas, Tucson and Boulder. I know 5 minutes is a short time, but just a quick word to illustrate that these challenges are coming not only from the feds. In Sierra, we see the state AG riding on the coattails there and insisting on divestiture, the same one, of course, but also an extraction of concessions involving money to charities. And of course, it's not that long ago that we had John Garamendi splashed across the headlines challenging the Anthem WellPoint transaction in California, which had been cleared already by the feds as a result of his review process by the Department of Insurance in California, which centered around concerns that the merged entity was taking on too much debt and would have inevitably had to raise premiums to California consumers. Then Garamendi got a large concession from the merging parties, contribution to healthcare in California, as well as some undertakings on executive stock option compensation that they weren't happy about. And just in our own neighbourhood here in New York City, we have the HIP transaction that was challenged by the New York AG, again after the feds had looked at it and cleared it. So once you're past the first hurdle, there may be several others to go before you can get your deal cleared, and it's as well to have a regulatory strategy up front that recognises those risks.